evening. Hopefully you've had a good day. I will try to go through this as quickly as possible, cover all the information. So very exciting times for not only Vance, but our school system in general when it comes to the digital conversion. A lot of times people say exactly what does that mean? Really, I think it's captured here with the personalized learning anytime, anywhere. And that's what it does. It gets us away from the old educational model of one size fits all. It becomes more personalized, more individualized to where students can learn at their own rate of understanding, anytime, anywhere they have connectivity to the internet. The anytime, if you have a student who is a night owl who likes staying up late, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, they can access, whether it's Compass, Study Island, or the new platform that we're using for the digital conversion, Schoology, to access lessons that the teacher puts online. So, anytime, anywhere. Why us, why now? Today's learners have grown up in a digital world. They have cell phones, computers, multi-dimensional video entertainment, iPods, the internet, and they have never seen a TV without a remote control. Our children are hyper-communicators, goal planners, multitaskers, experts at figuring out and using technology, and they are active learners. Even more so than when I was in school thinking that I was an active learner, our students take it to a whole new realm to where they can have a book in front of them, a phone in one hand, earbuds in their ears, and still absorb the information. You know, I would totally be lost if I tried to do that. The other reason is because it's the right thing. Engaging these students and making education relevant is critical for our schools to continue to effectively and fully prepare the citizens and leaders of tomorrow. A large majority of the jobs that our students will have not been created yet. They're technology-based and therefore being on the forefront with a digital conversion and hopefully giving them a better foundation in going to high school, we are preparing them for jobs of the future that do not exist today. The hardware and features, the actual laptop and backpack are up front, but more specifics, it's a Dell Latitude 3330. Comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM, 320 gigabyte hard drive, a little over 13-inch high definition anti-glare display, high definition webcam, integrated mic, a little under 3.5 pounds. Comes with Windows 7, and there's no CD or DVD drive. That's really for 2 reasons. 1, the cost associated with it, and 2, it's one less thing to break on the machine. Also, the school issue protective bag, which is up front again. The software it comes with is the Office 365 suite, which includes Word, Excel, Publisher, OneNote, PowerPoint, ActiveInspire, which is used with the Promethean board, Explorer, and Firefox. Laptop care, use the school issues school bag. Walk with the lid closed, never open, which means I should never see students walking down the hall with their laptops like this. If they're transporting it from point A to point B in the building, it should be closed and in the backpack. If it's within a classroom, it's just a matter of shutting it, moving to the next small group, and then opening the computer back. Keep laptops away from food, crumbs, and drinks. Laptops are not allowed for use during lunch. One thing that we have discussed is giving students an area that when they finish their lunch where they could use their laptops. We're only in the preliminary discussions about that, so it may happen this year, it may not be until next year that that would occur. Do not leave the laptop unattended, especially in a car. The usage fee does not cover lost or stolen chargers, so keep yours secure. This leads us into our first video of 2 that are very short.
Hi, I'm Jim Steyer, founder and CEO of Common Sense Media, and most importantly, the father of 4 kids.
And I'm Liz Purley, co-founder and editor-in-chief of Common Sense Media, and a mom of 2.
7 years ago when we started Common Sense Media, There was no such thing as Facebook, cyberbullying, iPhones, YouTube, or texting. But we now live in this rapidly changing media and tech world. And as parents, it can be incredibly tough to keep up with all this technology. And that's especially true because our kids are far more plugged in digitally than we are.
My teenagers are connected online and on their phones 24/7. I know this digital world of theirs operates by special rules. They can get into heaps of trouble if they don't understand the consequences of their actions. So what are the common sense rules of the road for helping our kids get the most out of this brave new world? Well, it turns out good, safe online and cell phone behavior begins at home.
That's exactly right, Liz. You know, as all parents know today, our kids learn from us. And not just from what we say, but more importantly, from what we do. The good news is that even if we are a bit clueless about our kids' online and cell phone lives, we can still help them learn how to use this technology wisely. So here are our 10 simple common sense rules for parents. First, model good behavior. Put away that BlackBerry or iPhone at dinner. I know that it isn't always so easy, but if we can't turn off our own cell phones, then how can we expect our kids to do the same thing?
Next, pay attention. Know where your kids are going online and what they're doing when they get there.
Share your values. You've got to talk to your kids about important issues like cheating, lying, and being cruel. And you have to remind them that right and wrong extends to online and cell phone behavior too. So be honest with them about what you believe.
Establish limits. And that means for phone use, video and download time, and internet destinations. There's always a right time and place for everything.
Encourage them to lead balanced lives. You've got to get your kids involved in offline activities, playing games, reading books, ones that don't involve media or technology.
Make kids accountable. If they have a privilege such as a cell phone or video game, make sure they earn it. And if they abuse it, make sure there are consequences.
Tell them what's at stake. This is really important stuff. Let your kids know that anything and everything that is posted online can be altered, copied, pasted, and sent around to millions of people in an instant. Even worse, it's almost impossible to take it back. So those images can live online forever.
Find ways to say yes. That means as parents, we have to look for the sites that appeal to your kids' interests and have positive messages. We need to find the good stuff that lets us say yes more often than we say no.
And remember, it's not rocket science. Just look at me. You do not have to be a technology wizard. Don't feel intimidated if you don't know as much as your kids do about technology. Make the time to find out more, talk to other parents and teachers, and do a bit of research. At the end of the day, it basically is common sense.
Finally, lighten up. Embrace their world and enjoy the possibilities together. None of us want digital divides in our relationships with our kids. It's up to us as parents not only to learn about technology, but join in the fun and help our kids seize the potential of this amazing digital world. As parents, we have the most important role to play in making sure our kids use these incredible technologies in responsible ways. That means not only talking the talk, but walking the walk.
As my kids would say, hey Dad, you have to practice what you preach. Now this may mean a bit of extra homework for all of us parents, but using these 10 simple common sense rules of the road will make it a whole lot easier to raise kids in this digital world. For more advice and tips, and to make sure you remember these common sense rules for parents, visit us at commonsense.org.
One thing I would like to stress to parents before we move on is when it comes to social media sites, please know the username and passwords to every site that your student is using. And it's not a matter of not trusting your child, but it's a matter of not trusting everyone else who has access to them. To kind of bring that point home, I'd like to share with you that recently Officer Green and myself, through the course of some students bringing in some different things, were able to identify someone who was preying upon teenage girls, really middle school and high school girls, through Facebook. We were able to identify that individual, turn that information over to the detectives at the police department, who in turn turned it over to the FBI because it involved crossing state lines. So again, it is more about student safety, your student safety, and knowing who has access to them. Internet safety at school. Students use the internet only for educational and research purposes. Teachers monitor student internet use in class just as you will monitor their use at home. Students are not allowed free time to search the internet. Students receive training on the use of laptops and internet safety, as well as monthly NetSmarts lessons. Internet safety guidelines: never give out personal information, never use parents' credit cards online. One thing I will share with you about this does not involve the digital conversion, but parent set up an iTunes account for their student. Student downloaded multiple things from iTunes. When I say multiple, in excess of hundreds. So the parent incurred a very excessive credit card bill. So again, be careful with giving that information out. Never share passwords with anyone. Never arrange a face-to-face meeting. Don't open an email if you don't know who sent it. We'll discuss email in just a minute. Don't click on banner ads or pop-up ads on websites, and never use bad language or send threatening emails. School internet filtering. So server-based filtering software that is installed on the BTCS web server to block social media and other sites. Filter websites based on content keywords. Now, the filter that is in place here at school will be in place when they bring that laptop home. So ideally, if they cannot access it at school, they should be able to access it at home. The key word that I said there is ideally. There's ways around the filter, and I'll discuss that in just a minute, but it becomes a disciplinary issue if they bypass the filter. The 365 for education, students will have a unique BTCS email address to use for the 365 suite. Students are restricted to emailing each other and BTCS staff. Students may not send or receive email to and from anyone outside the district. Meaning, if you have a Yahoo account and you try to send something to your student, he or she would not get it. Right now, unless it is a btcs.org or btcs.net account, they would not be able to send or receive. At some point in time, we could open that up, but right now we just kind of feel like it's better and safer to have students communicating with other students within our school system or staff. They will have a SkyDrive account or bots for sharing digital files out on the internet, which means copyright and privacy are of the utmost importance. The cyberbullying law truly went into effect last year. Tennessee Code annotated 49.6.1016 requires that every school district have a policy prohibiting bullying and harassment, as well as procedures for investigating reports of bullying and harassment. This law gives schools more power in handling cyberbullying threats, putting them in the same zero tolerance category as drugs, physical fighting, up to 365 days out of school suspension. Really, if there's an allegation of cyberbullying that is found to be true, a student could be put out of school for 1 calendar year. One thing that I like to say about whether it's cyberbullying or bullying is a lot of times what happens is, give you this scenario, if a student receives a message on Facebook or text or whatever, that when you come to the school tomorrow, I'm going to beat your butt. And the student responds, bring it, and then we start this back and forth bantering between the two. There's no bullying going on. It is just a matter of both students engaging in this conduct. Now, if the student who receives the message says something like, leave me alone, I don't want to engage in this, or doesn't respond at all, and the student continues to send threats, inappropriate messages, then yes, that's where we get into the bullying and harassment, which takes us into our next video.
We spend lots of time online. We text, we comment, we share. It's a big part of our lives. But communicating with someone online is just like talking to them in real life. Everyone appreciates politeness, and no one likes it when people make fun, spread gossip, rumors, or lies. The fact is, some people do try to hurt others online. It's called cyberbullying, and it's a lose-lose situation. It makes the person being harassed feel bad, and it makes the bully look bad. It might lead to trouble with school authorities or even the police. If someone's harassing you online, it's important not to respond. That's because bullies are looking for a reaction. Block them if you can. Ignore them if you can't. If it continues, save the evidence and ask an adult for help. And don't be afraid to stand up for yourself or to stand up for someone else being cyberbullied. This behavior usually stops pretty quickly when someone speaks up. And when you're communicating online, remember to treat people the way you'd like to be treated. Know how to handle yourself, because being online is part of your life. So stop and think before you click.
Home internet use. Parents should set and enforce rules for internet and phone use. Have a computer in a common room, not in a bedroom with the door closed. Time limits on the internet, instant messaging, social networking sites, online gaming, etc. Parents should ask and know students' personal username and password. Parents should have access to students' email, and also check the history on the computer. For Firefox, or Explorer, show all history. For Safari, bookmarks show history. And at the bottom it says if history is empty, ask why. I say if it is consistently or constantly empty every time that you check it, then you need to have a conversation with your student about why are you clearing this out. Social media. Parents should monitor social media use even though it is blocked by BTCS filters because many students access it via smartphone. Be aware of which social media sites your students use, Twitter, Instagram, Vine, Facebook, Snapchat, Tumblr, etc., and monitor their postings. Talk with your kids about their permanent digital footprint. Be alert to any cyberbullying and notify school immediately if it involves another student. And again, parents should know and ask students' personal username and password for social media sites. This is a social media infogram dealing with the different social media sites out. It says, do you know what your kids are doing online? I'll give you just a few seconds to look over this. This one deals with bacon, and again, some of these social media sites that are available that a lot of your kids probably use. Responsible use policy. Follow all copyright laws, including music piracy. Use appropriate language online. Students will make available all messages or files upon administrator or teacher request. Just like a textbook or locker, BTCS owns the laptop. Students are permitted to use it for educational advancement. What is prohibited? Bypassing the filter. I said there are ways that, or sites out there that will allow students to bypass the filter and gain access to sites that we feel like are inappropriate. That once we are notified, it becomes a disciplinary issue, just like other things on this list, including using, sharing another student's username or password, tampering with the hardware, material that is pornographic, obscene, graphically violent, or vulgar, and also do not download, transfer through external drive, meaning do not use a thumb drive to try to put something on the computer.